everyone, and welcome to this episode of Metaphysical Moments. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of bringing a phenomenal medium who is world-renowned. She is a tutor, a demonstrator all over the globe. She teaches and demonstrates at the Arthur Findlay College. And I'm going to introduce you to the lovely Christine Morgan. Hi, Christine.
Hello. Nice to be with you, Sid. Hello, everybody.
Yes, hello, everybody. So anyway, Christine, tell us a little bit about you and what you do all over this globe. Explain to the world.
Well, like lots of mediums, I travel and tutor in the field of the intuitive arts and mediumship, obviously, about the spirit world. And obviously I demonstrate, etc. And my passion is actually bringing awareness to people about the spirit world and the correct understanding about how natural it is. Too many times I think that we demand, everybody wants something from the spirit world, everybody wants to be this or be that, and we don't listen to the other world enough. Or I feel that a lot of people actually get so carried away with beginning the medium, doing the development, getting this, getting that actually sometimes you have to stop and stand still and say, what about the other world? What do we do? And it's a natural phenomenon. It's not a supernatural phenomenon what we do, it's natural. So part of the teaching education aspect is to bring awareness that it is a natural phenomenon. And that, you know, the spirit world is there for everybody. Not everybody will be a medium, not everybody will work psychically really well or will be a healer. But there's a greater understanding of that lovely unseen world that can be brought to people. That's what I'm passionate about.
And you do a lovely job, because I have sat in many classes with you, and what I've enjoyed about your teaching and about your mentoring when I visited you in Wales and other places was that you were able to help me with the actual feeling of that connection, the feeling of that presence of the spirit. And I was able in your classes that when I had a question, it wasn't blown off, that you were able to give me a rationale behind everything that I had asked you. And yes, you did. And so that has definitely had me follow you for so long and enjoy every class that I've had with you, I have to say. And I'm hoping that someday that we can get more of the world exposed to that.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, there's a lot of people out there who do really good jobs for the spirit world. We have some fabulous mediums around the world in all aspects, from physical, altered states, mental mediumship, healing. And there's a lot of people who are not known about who work for the spirit world in their own quiet way. So there's a lot of work actually going on around the world. There's some lovely circles, there's some lovely truth being exposed about people who really do understand that connection with the other world. So it is out there and it is there. It's just perhaps everybody coming together and having the same understanding, because after all, it's just a work of service. It's all just a work of service. So it doesn't matter what aspect you're working in a mediumship, it's still about that other world. That is the priority. In whatever aspect, in whatever forum you want to excel in, or you want to understand, you want to be educated in, or you want to develop, or you work in per se, it's about the other world, it's not necessarily about us. Even though the journey of the understanding and the unfoldment of the mediumship ability does teach us about ourselves.
Absolutely. I definitely, one of the things that when I work with others, I tell them, one of the strongest strengths you should have is introspection. Being able to go inside of you and working out yourself, and because it's a natural ability that if you don't have control over who you are, you'll never be able to get that good blending with the other world. So while we're here, one thing I wanted to touch on, because I might see some questions coming up there, but one of the things I wanted to touch on before we get more into the interview was, I want you to explain to people, why is it good to be a very good psychic before you become a medium? How does that help? How does that assist that ability?
Well, you have to develop the intuitive side of your nature. I mean, we all have that. But you have to develop the understanding of the psychic and intuitive side of the nature to be able to differentiate between the spirit world and what you're picking up from the person on a material level. So people tend sometimes to poo-poo the psychic and say, oh yeah, it's just the psychic side. But the psychic side of work is really important in our work. Colour, symbology, understanding the different levels of the aura, understanding the different levels of depth. We can gain information from a person as a good psychic before we even touch the spirit realms. So I believe, and this is just my understanding and my personal experience, that if you don't set out to learn and understand about all those different levels, you become very confused. And that's where we often have people calling this the spirit, that the spirit's telling me this, the spirit's telling me that, when actually they don't understand the power of the spirit or the presence of the spirit. So when we're working in the psychic side of things, 70 to 80% of people who want to see mediums today want to know psychic information. They want to know about their lives, they want to know about their problems or their relationships or money, all that sort of thing. And not that we can answer everything, but we can use our ability as a good tool to give people intuitive guidance. And when we understand the psychic level, we're working with a variable range of potentials and possibilities, because no medium on this earth is 100% correct or right, ever. It's impossible. What happens is all of that information comes through our mental perception, even on a psychic level as well as a mediumistic level. And so therefore it's our interpretation of a potential, a possibility, that way can be put into guidance for people or give them a clear understanding, some more clarity in their life about a particular situation. And if you don't learn and practice and understand those different levels that you're capable of with your mind, you don't actually get to understand really at depth what you can gain with the spirit world. If you can understand people here and how your own mind works and how we relate to other people, and transfer that with your psychic work, with understanding people's levels of mind, it gives you then a broader spectrum to understand the minds you're working with in the spirit world. You then become aware of the difference. The difference obviously is the presence of the spirit, developing the power and the ability of mediumship, so it flourishes, it becomes nurtured, and we become, the workers for the world unseen, so to speak. So the psychic side's very important. Not everybody's going to be a medium. I always say you're better to be a good psychic than a ropey medium.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So in doing that, the psychic work's important as well. It shouldn't be downplayed. It's very relevant. We use it for assessments, we use the colours, we use symbology, and I feel the more you expand your mind in different areas, you actually give the spirit world also more to work with.
Yes, absolutely.
So understanding the difference between the two is very important. It is important. And they're both important aspects of the abilities.
Yes. I have noticed that when I've worked with people and when I've been in other places working with you, like in Wales and in England, that many people seem to take offense when they felt they were working psychically. And so I wanted to kind of clear that up a little bit for everybody out there and let them know that that's okay. That
it's fabulous.
Yes, that's still a great, because that is the first step. That is the step you have to accomplish before you move into that mediumistic realm.
Well, that's right, because we sort of downplay and don't really understand just what we are capable of as people with our minds, right? Mm-hmm. We tend to think, this is the spirit, I got that from the spirit. But no, sadly, no. We are capable of so much, and we can gain so much information from the levels of the auric field and also from the layers of consciousness with people. And once we go into work with them on a soul level, at a deeper level, really know what's making them tick, that is an aid to people's life as well, and to our own lives, yes, for those of us who are doing it, and that has to have a big awareness of that.
We had some people write in some questions, and so one of the questions that we have here is, how does one know that they're getting a contact with the spirit versus their imagination?
That's why you have to sit in a good development circle, or have someone guide you if you're sitting at home alone and developing the power of the spirit. It's the presence of the spirit world. Because we can often pick up the memories from the auric field of our loved ones, right? So if you've got someone in your mind that you're thinking about, it's their birthday, their anniversary, of course the spirit world is so close to us, but often we can read the memory that's there. So you need to understand the presence of the spirit, which is a definite feeling, and it's different for everybody. But once you have the experience and become accustomed to understand the power, and sitting either collectively in a circle with a group, or at home alone and developing that relationship with the spirit world, you start to understand the feeling and the knowing that comes with the spirit world. Also, you've got to remember that if it is a spirit contact, you do want some form of evidence.
Yes.
You do need some form of evidence. You don't have to give realms and realms and realms of boring details. And I mean, details are great, but you also want to feel the personality, the essence of them, the nature of them, but you do need verifying evidence to know who that definite soul is, that consciousness that you're communicating with. Now that will happen as the power develops, but often when people are working psychically, sometimes they will pick up fragments of memories from people, of loved ones in the spirit, and believe they're communicating with the spirit world, where they might get a few little things that are correct because it's in the sitter's mind, right? But is that soul really there? So that's where the true art and true development of real mediumship and real spirit communication is really important. And it's something that takes time to develop over a period of time. It takes years to understand, but it's consistency, it's dedication, and it's intention.
Yes. And I think you just answered the next question that got wrote into us was, how does one begin this journey? And you just answered some of that, but we'll get into that.
Well, you know, if you're interested, seek a teacher or somebody who can educate you. Always go to someone who you've watched work. Look at people's work, listen to what they have to say, do your research, do your homework, and there's lots of good tutors around the world. And so find a place where you feel safe and comfortable, where you can be vulnerable within your development, because you need to have that vulnerability to allow change and to allow challenge, right? Because you're not going to get everything right.
No.
It's a difficult road, and it's not always easy and rewarding. It's rewarding when you start to have the understanding.
Yes.
But I do believe that there are groups and circles and places you can go to and learn more about it.
For those that are local, we host them here. I have circles at the center and here and at my home as well. So if you're interested in developing, you have to get in a good circle, whether it's your own or with me or however. So we're going to put up some information at the end of the segment that will be my website. And Christine probably will give us your website if people want to know more about you.
Yeah.
They can learn a little more if they want to find ways to get in touch with you for any reason and maybe ask another question. Let me see if I have any more questions here. I think those are the only two questions. But one thing I want to talk about is the pattern of development. How does someone know when they're ready? Because I really want to hear, because everywhere you go, in many places that I have studied, they just have you demonstrate and then they critique it, but that really doesn't tell you you're ready. That just says you did a good dem that time. And you only did one contact. So what really makes someone feel that they are okay to transition to, not necessarily to go out on their own and be the medium, but where they should be more comfortable at representing themselves as a medium and start doing open galleries and more private sittings?
Okay. Well, are you ever ready?
Never. You're always nervous.
You're always learning.
Yes.
You're always growing. But to get out there in the public and actually, I say, call yourself a medium, and to be creating these events and these galleries or public demonstrations, you should be able to consistently work with the spirit world for a good 2-hour demonstration by yourself.
Yes.
And be able to give consistent good evidence so people will know that you're communicating. And so the information is taken, it's not just shoved up, as they say, park it up here or put it in a bag there. No. You need to be able to hold an audience, to be able to have your trust with the spirit world, your relationship with the spirit world so strong within yourself and that conviction. And you've had obviously reports of how your work has been, you've had feedback how your work has been, you know your development is growing, and you get to a stage where the consistency is good enough if you feel you want to go public. Some people never want to go public, right?
Yes.
They might just want to do a one-on-one, right? Exactly. So it just depends what the person's comfortable with. A good all-rounder can normally do both, but it just depends what you're comfortable with. But to go out and charge people, to create a gallery, an event, you need to be able to stand in your own power and have that wonderful relationship come to light and flourish in it and work in that power for that time that the spirit world needs you to be of service. And you need to be able to do that alone. And so generally around the world, I know from people I know, my colleagues who work, we would hold an 1 to 2 hour demonstration by ourselves, producing evidential mediumship.
So I know we're running out of time, so I want to kind of tie this up a little bit. we've been using the word power a lot in today's talk. So explain to the public what that is. Because a lot of people might not know what sitting in the power actually is.
Yes, because a lot of people will use different terms. I personally believe the power is us.
Yes.
We are part of the great power, the great source, that greater intelligence that is much bigger than us. So we use the phrase, it's been coined through years of mediumship, the power. Some people call it the silence, going to God, whatever fits with your belief and understanding. But it's about being able to go within yourself into that quiet space or quiet time, to be able to create a relationship with the unseen world, to be able to sit quietly and not be distracted. And so that creates a movement in consciousness. And as you sit quietly and that auric field around you expands, that movement in consciousness then actually blends with that other world, which is around us anyway, because we're a world living in another world. So we're in their world as much as they're in ours. But that contemplation, that quiet time, people might call it meditation, that sitting in that oneness, that nurturing of that relationship you have with them brings about a quickening of our own spirit. Within that quickening of our own spirit, we then raise our own vibration. And it's at that time where we can't actually define an exact point, but there is a blending that takes place with our world and this world, the other world. And so that is when communication takes place, or when the presence of the power is there. Because often people don't realize the presence of the power can be there without personality.
Okay, great. So let me tie this up really quick because we're running out of time. So what I wanted to tell you guys is that coming in February, I'm going to be hosting a fabulous event here called Touching Eternity. That's where we bring both the physical mediumship and the mental mediumship together, where you will learn about sitting in the power. We have Scott Milligan, who is phenomenal, coming in to demonstrate for us the power and how to sit in the power in the altered states, which helps with that. We also have both mental and physical mediumship at that conference, but that information is available on my website, and you can find that at the end of the show. They'll be posted. It's www.sid-patrick.com. So you will find that information at the end of the show, but definitely follow that event. It'll be here in February. See you soon. Thank you for joining Metaphysical Moments.